first Ramadan in Islam. In the year 624 CE, in the city of Medina, a small yet resilient group of believers prepared to experience a month that would change their lives forever. This was the first ever Ramadan in Islam, a sacred time that would become a cornerstone of their faith for generations to come. As the crescent moon appeared in the night sky, signaling the beginning of Ramadan, the early Muslims gazed upward with awe and devotion. It was the second year after the Hijrah, the migration of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and his companions from Makkah to Medina, where they sought refuge from persecution. Now they stood on the threshold of a spiritual journey unlike anything they had encountered before. Gathered in Masjid al-Nabawi, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, addressed his followers with words that would echo through time. O people, the month of Ramadan has come to you. It is a month of blessings, mercy and forgiveness. Allah has made fasting in it obligatory upon you. Before this revelation, the Muslims had observed fasting on the day of Ashura and practiced voluntary fasts. But now Allah had ordained an entire month of fasting. The divine command was clear, as recited by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud from the newly revealed verse of the Quran. O you who have believed, fasting has been prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those before you, that you may attain taqwa, God consciousness. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:183. With hearts full of faith, the companions rose before dawn to partake in suhoor, the pre-dawn meal. Their food was simple, dates and water, but it was enough to sustain them. As the first light of dawn appeared, they began their fast, abstaining not just from food and drink, but also from idle talk, arguments, and any act that could taint their devotion. Under the relentless heat of the Arabian sun, they carried out their daily tasks, their bodies weary, but their spirits strong. The fast was not merely about enduring hunger and thirst. It was a path to spiritual purification, a test of patience and discipline. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the adhan for Maghrib prayer rang through the air, signaling the time to break their fast. Following the guidance of the Prophet, sallallahu, they reached for dates, their sweetness a reminder of Allah's mercy. When one of you is fasting and breaks his fast, let him do so with dates, for they are a blessing. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had said. With renewed energy, they gathered once more for Taraweeh, the special night prayers. Standing in rows behind the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, they listened to the rhythmic recitation of the Quran, their hearts filling with tranquility. As the final days of Ramadan approached, anticipation grew for Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree. A night better than 1,000 months. No one knew its exact date, but they remained awake in prayer, seeking Allah's forgiveness and blessings, hoping to be among those whose supplications would be answered. And then, at last, Ramadan came to an end. The early Muslims had endured hardship, but in its place, they found patience, gratitude, and a deeper connection with their Creator. On the joyous morning of Eid al-Fitr, they gathered once more, not just to celebrate the completion of their fast, but to thank Allah for the strength He had granted them. From that moment onward, Ramadan became an eternal tradition, a sacred month of renewal, mercy, and forgiveness, a gift from Allah to every Muslim who would follow in their footsteps. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Surah Al-Inshirah 94:6. As another blessed Ramadan begins, we are reminded of the sacrifices and devotion of the first Muslims who embraced this sacred month with unwavering faith. Just as they fasted, prayed, and sought Allah's mercy, we too must strive to make the most of this holy time. Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food and drink. It is a time for reflection, purification, and drawing closer to Allah. It is a time to mend broken relationships, seek forgiveness, and extend kindness to those in need. Here's what we should all do this Ramadan. Pray with sincerity, increase your daily prayers, especially during the nights of Ramadan. Perform Taraweeh and seek the blessings of Laylatul Qadr. Read and reflect on the Quran. Just as the companions stood behind the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, listening to the words of Allah, let us dedicate time each day to reading and understanding the Quran. Give in charity, sadaqah and zakat, share what you have with the poor and needy. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was the most generous in Ramadan, and we should follow his example. Control your tongue and actions. Avoid arguments, gossip, and anything that diminishes the spirit of fasting. Ramadan is a time to purify not just our bodies, but also our hearts.